Welcome to Anything Goes with me, Becky Walsh, a modern day agony aunt, for your life questions and for some deep insights you just don't get from your friends. You can call about anything that is troubling your worried mind. Anything goes. The number to call is 03333 403 700, and you can text us by texting your message with the word Becky followed by your text to 88833. Now, on the show, we're going to be talking self-love with Dr. David Hamilton, the author of I Heart Me, who's going to be teaching you how to love yourself. And Flatmates from Hell, how to avoid the desire to slap your flatmate around the face with wet fish. And polyamory, can you be born to love more than one partner? But we don't have to talk about those. Anything goes. That's the whole point. And I want to speak to you. And the number to call is 03333 403 700. Now, I have a real treat for you. A little lovin', a little self-lovin' kind. And joining me now over Skype is Dr. David Hamilton. Hello, David.
Hello there, Becky. It's great to talk to you again.
Thank you so much. Now, you're an expert on self-love. Now, looking at you, let's face it, you're a strapping, good-looking Scotsman. Why on earth would you need to know about self-love? What happened to you to make you interested in that?
Do you know, it's funny because I would be outwardly confident in my job, for example, I give talks at conferences and things, and I could be outwardly confident, but like a lot of people, there's a little voice of self-doubt in your mind that kind of says, who do you think you are? You can't do that. You're not good enough. That's almost continually comparing yourself to other people. And I think so many people have the same kind of thing. And for me, it was getting to the point that it was really interfering with my life. So that's why I really had to learn to nip this in the bud.
So what's the similarities then between like self-love and confidence? Because to me, I've always thought that confidence might be a side effect of self-love. So how does a lack of self-love actually show up in someone's life? Does it show up as a lack of confidence?
It can do. I mean, it very often does actually. I mean, a lack of self-love can show up, you know, in this constant need to get people to like us, this constant seeking for love and approval. It can come across as, you know, lacking in self-confidence, lacking in self-belief, even in fact, feeling really self-conscious. And another way that it manifests in our lives is, you know, this fear of taking steps forward in our lives because we're so afraid of people's opinion, of being accepted in our lives. So what happens then, because of that, is it begins to show up in other areas of our lives, like our career, obviously. It would obviously affect finances, relationships. It's why, actually, Becky, many people say that if you peel back the layer, that the layers underneath so many of our difficulties and challenges in life, just keep peeling back the layers, we very often arrive at a lack of self-love, you know, a lack of this inner sense of I'm worth it kind of thing. You know, like Cheryl Cole says in the L'Oreal advert, I'm worth it. Well, that's kind of on the inside what self-love is. So we can peel back the layers of so many of our challenges in life, and we often arrive at this lacking of I'm worth it, so to speak.
So could that actually affect why some of us don't get paid the same amount of money as other people, or don't get promoted, or get overlooked, or perhaps we become really needy in our relationships as well?
Yes to all of those things. Actually, because sometimes we become afraid of people's opinion, afraid of people's reactions to us. So very often, even though you might feel, I've worked very hard in this job and I deserve it, you become afraid of asking your boss for a raise. One, because you're struggling with self-belief, and secondly, because deep down you worry that, do I really deserve this? Am I really as good as other people? Kind of thing. And it's all these questions of self-doubt that occupy the mind so much that we end up doing nothing about it at all.
Now, this appears to me that this is particularly true for women. You know, as a woman myself, I can talk about it, but this seems to be particularly true. And obviously, we know that women don't get paid as much as men do. Do you think that because women are kind of bombarded with self-image stuff, like in magazines, you know, have you got a beach-ready body? You know, do you have cellulite? Let's look at this celebrity and look at how terrible they look, or look how great they look, and and how we get compared. Do you think that it's worse for women having low self-esteem, or do you think that guys also suffer from it too, and that seems to be a growing trend? What do you think about that?
Yeah, actually, guys suffer with it just as much as women, but it's almost like a stereotype. We've got to man up. So what men do to disguise the lack of self-love, on the lack of this inner sense of I'm worth it, is we end up playing tough and playing like the cool guy. And it's responsible for all kinds. A lack of self-love is responsible for all kinds of behavior. Can I say that on live?
Yeah, it's too late. Do it.
All kinds of behaviour can actually come across in men. And when it comes to women, you said a really important thing there. The constant bombarded with images from the media. So many scientific research studies have actually shown that young girls and teenagers and young adults, adult females, because of being bombarded with airbrushed images and seemingly glorified images, the tendency, even though logically you know that that's not normal, but the tendency psychologically is to compare ourselves to others. And what we do is we then subconsciously conclude, because I don't look like that, then I'm not good enough. And because and some research shows that you only need to be shown images for less than 2 minutes to have a suppressing effect on self-love, on self-esteem in these teenage girls. Just 2 minutes of exposure to glorified images in a magazine or TV to make a teenage girl or a young adult female feel lower in her self-love. That's all it takes. And we're bombarded with them all throughout the day.
Yeah, and girls can be very difficult with each other as well, because I know that a girl, if you don't value yourself, then you pull down the value of other girls in some kind of crazy way that we believe that is going to raise our value. So this is how like envy works. So, and I've done it myself. I saw this woman who was poured into this red dress. She looked absolutely fantastic. I saw 2 women in that red dress. I saw me in the red dress and her in the red dress. And I took an intake of breath to say to a friend, because we were all having a girl crush going, I mean, she looked amazing. And I took an intake of breath saying, I bet she's wearing one of those all-in-one Spanx. And I thought, why devalue how amazing this woman looked? But it seems like it's an inbuilt in our programming. So now I'm mindful of the way that I think, but how can we change the voice in our head? Like, how can we be more self-loving? What tips have you got?
Yeah, I could share with you a really powerful one, Becky, that's actually based on cutting-edge science. You know, rather than just trying to tell ourselves, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, which is quite difficult to take on board if we really don't believe it. So a very powerful strategy is actually rewiring the circuits of the brain. And it works in a really simple way. You know how dancing makes you feel good?
Yeah.
The reason why dancing makes you feel good is because there's a very strong connection between the way you're moving your body, the way you hold and move your body, and the emotional circuits of the brain. So when you're feeling happy, you smile, not because you remember to smile, but because the muscles in the face, it's a reflex reaction because you're feeling good, and the reflex reaction is that the brain circuits tug on the facial muscles. Now, the other side of it is when we're lacking in self-love, in any particular environment, when perhaps we're feeling very self-conscious or lacking in self-belief, then we literally wear it on our bodies. It comes across in our facial expressions, the curve in our spine, the dropping of the shoulders, the tension in the jaw. So what we need to do is we can just realise that's happening and just make an adjustment to our posture. A really good practice for women is to do the Wonder Woman pose for 2 minutes in the morning. Men, you don't want to call it Wonder Woman, we can call it the Superman pose.
May I demonstrate? I know this one, so you can't see me fully, but it's that. You know,
yeah.
it's that Wonder Woman kind of like, da, 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 da. Oh, that's it, that's the one.
That's
you can see it in the camera now. It's that standing upright with your arms kind of, you know, like you're Wonder Woman and you've got some kind of slightly dominatrixy style costume on. Anyway, just saying.
Well, you practiced this a bit, Becky, I can tell.
I have been practicing, David, since you taught me this before. Before I make a difficult phone call, I have, you know, I stand in that position before I have to call somebody if I feel a bit scared or a little bit uncomfortable. And you know, you're right. It does actually, and I also pretend I'm Angelina Jolie, but that's a different subject. But it does make me feel a lot more powerful and a lot more confident. It kind of, I don't know, and it also makes me laugh. And
the reason for that is because research shows that just standing like that for 2 minutes actually boosts the biology in your body in the direction of confidence and actually cuts down stress by as much as 25% in the body just after 2 minutes. So with a daily practice of that, just 2 minutes in the morning, that's all it takes. 2 minutes in the morning, if you practice it every day for like a month or so, coupled with as often as you can remember to throughout the day, just making an adjustment to your posture.
That's awesome advice, David. I'm going to have to jump in on top of you there. And if anyone wants to get hold of your book, it's called I Heart Me, and there's going to be loads more advice in I Heart Me, Dr. David Hamilton's book. Oh, how awesome is that? So you can give us a call, number to ring 033 33 403 700, and we'll be coming back after this break. Welcome back, I'm Becky Walsh and I am addicted to personal transformation. I'm taking your calls and you can join in the conversation. The number to ring is 033 33 403 700, and someone who has just done that very thing is Ed, and he's joining us on the phone now. Hello, Ed.
Hi, Becky. How you doing?
Hello. What made you call into the show?
I'm doing a talk this summer. I've got to go up in front of like 50 people and talk about finance. And basically, I have real problems when I'm doing public talking. And last time I did this, which was last summer, I barely ate for the whole day. And I just want to know any tips on how to remain calm when you're talking in front of so many people, because I find it absolutely nerve-wracking because of, you're in front of so many people and you just don't know what they're going to think of you.
Exactly. And it comes down to exactly what we're talking to Dr. David Hamilton about, really, when we're talking about self-love. It's that thought, I don't know what they're going to think of me. So we need to iron out that thought, because that thought is the scariest thought in the world. It is the one thing that we are really terrified of, because we still believe that if we don't fit in, we're going to be chucked out of the tribe, die in the snow, and possibly get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. So we feel like the tribe in front of us, which is this audience of people, we've got to impress them, we've got to make them like us, and then we'll be okay. Well, I can tell you this. I could not be doing this TV show without one very important thought. I'm okay about failing. The minute you become completely okay about failing, completely okay about looking like an absolute plank, okay about just being such a complete banana in front of a room full of people, or actually now I'm making myself nervous, in front of billions of people, millions of people, whoever could be watching. But you've got to get to a point where your passion for something overrides your need to be liked. You've got to find something that you care about so much that you will say, I am terrified, I don't know what I'm doing, and I am absolutely okay with failing, because all I need to do is show up. That is my only job, is I've got to show up with my heart in my hand and do the best possible thing that I can do, which is speak my truth, speak my passion, and come from a place of great meaning and purpose. And once you've got that in your head and you're okay about failing, then you can have some real fun with it, because there's nowhere else to go, because it doesn't matter. And it suddenly becomes about playing with the audience. And what I do when I'm public speaking is I look for friendly faces, and they're always there. They're the people that are looking at you like this and they smile. And they may be doing it because they know what it feels like. And they may be doing it because they are really interested in the subject. But avoid the people who do this. You know the ones who look like they're sucking a lemon? You just want to avoid looking at them, because they're always going to look like that. Sometimes it's because they think, I should be up there, I should be talking about that, I should be doing this. And that's actually about their own life and their own history. And again, what I was talking about, devaluing someone in order to raise your own value. Sometimes they do that. So look for the friendly faces. Now, once you've done one or two talks, find your favourite talk. The talk where you know that you rocked it. And when you walk off stage, you feel like you're walking on air. I mean, there's nothing better than knowing that you really, really nailed it, and people wanting to talk to you afterwards, and the questions that people have for you. And then before you go out on stage, remember that time and hold it like it's your tribe, like these are your people. And imagine that you're meeting them again. And when you step out on stage, you'll feel the warmth immediately, because somehow we transmit that to the audience, that I come here to be friendly and I come here to share my knowledge with you. And then you've got a friendly audience. So I'm going to ask you this, Ed. What is fueling you up about wanting to stand on a stage and talk about finance? What's your passion behind why you're doing that?
Basically, I want a fairer economic system because I'm into things like Bitcoin, but it's an absolute passion for me. Like I would die for it. But the thing is, I always try and be perfect when I do something because I just want to deliver the message really well. But that's the biggest problem I have, is this: I always want to be perfect with everything that I do. And I know like what you just said, it's not about doing that. It's about...
Well, the problem with the word perfect is perfect for who? Perfect for who? Because you're not going to be perfect for every single member of the audience. And you've got to be really clear on who you're trying to connect to, because you want to be perfect for a certain population of people, not perfect for everyone. So let's face it, if you're talking about Bitcoin, you don't want to be perfect for bankers in the audience, do you? You want to be a revolutionary. So you want to be perfect for people who are going to go, oh yes, this man's talking my language. That's who you want to be perfect for. So in a way, all you really need to do is get engaged with your passion, and then you will be perfect, because you'll be perfect for the people who also engage with your passion. So that would really help you. So just passion first, be okay about screwing up, and everything will be fine. I already know you've got this. You can do this, Ed. You've already got it. I know you can. Lovely to speak to you, Ed. Thank you so much for your call. I really appreciate it. Good luck. Let us know how it goes. Ed's gone. That's okay. So we've got another caller on the line. So Darren. Hi, Darren. How can I help you?
Hello there, Becky. How's it going? You okay?
It's all right. Although I started talking to him about getting nervous and I could feel that fluttering thing in my stomach. I'm fine now. I'm rather relaxed. So Darren, what made you call into the show?
Well, basically, I'm having a bit of troubles with me and my girlfriend, really. And I just wanted... Someone told me about your show and they told me that I could call you and find out.
Yeah, sure. So what's the trouble with you? I don't want to say what's the trouble with your girlfriend, because it makes it sound like, well, she's a nightmare.
Well, no. It's not the trouble with her. It's more the trouble with me, really. Basically, every time we go to do stuff, I kind of get a bit nervous and I kind of come a bit early, premature ejaculation a bit.
Yeah. So she must be hot. So congratulations on having a very hot girlfriend who's technically brilliant. So
my mate said that she's quite hot. She says she's about 4 out of 10 and that, so it's all right.
Oh, I do hate it when men rate women like that, but that's all right. I'm going to let you get away with it because it's your first time calling into the show. So there's a couple of things that you can do.
It's just getting me down, really, because my mates started calling me 3 Plump Wonder and that, and it's just a bit...
Hang on a minute.
Bit upsetting.
Darren, what are you doing telling your mates about the fact that you prematurely ejaculate? I mean, it's fine if you do, but you're kind of lining yourself up there.
I don't really have mates. I just have one mate.
You just have one mate, and he's the one that's telling you. Oh. Well, all right, so here's a good note to self. You might want to not perhaps talk about that stuff, because if I was your girlfriend and I knew that you were talking about our sexual activity, I might be a little bit sus about that. So here's what you want to do.
Never really thought of that.
Just before, as you feel yourself building towards a climax, you want to get the base of your cock the bit closest to you, and you want to give it a squeeze right high at the end. So you want to give it a bit of a squeeze. That basically
won't that hurt though? Won't that hurt?
Well, it depends how hard you're squeezing it, sweetie. I would say don't squeeze it too hard if it hurts, okay? You know,
might ruin moment as well.
Well, exactly my point, my friend. You want to ruin the moment just a little bit. You want to lose a little bit of your erection so that you can start again building up to that orgasm. And eventually, you're going to train your body to not premature ejaculate. That's the way to do it. Would you like me to go through that again?
Okay.
Or are you a fast learner?
Thanks, Becky. I'll try that now. Cassie, come on.
Excellent, Darren. Enjoy your evening. I tell you something, you're going to have to turn his microphone off because we might be turning the show into a little bit more risque than I had intended. We're suddenly be going, hang on, can you squeeze it for me? I can't reach. Can you squeeze it yourself? Thanks so much for your call, Darren. You're quite a laugh. I love you. Okay, so we've got an email that came in, and the email address, rather wonderful. It is becky@madetelevision.tv. Now, this is an email that came in from Sarah. Sarah says, love your show. I'm not going to get bored of hearing that, by the way. Love your show. My question is, if there's the opposite of polyamory, because that's something that we're discussing on the show today. She says, if there's the opposite of polyamory, it's me. She says she's 42 and hasn't had sex in nearly 10 years. Realising this anniversary, I wonder if there's something wrong with me. Low libido seems to be a symptom of many different issues, but is there a way for me to get to a point where I would enjoy touch and sex? Lots of love, Sarah. Thank you so much, Sarah. So there's a couple of things that you can do, and you might be a little bit kind of like, really? To a couple of things that I'm going to say. So one of the things that you can do is I want you to get your mirror and I want you to get reacquainted with your body. So literally, I want you to hold the mirror in front of yourself and in front of your doodads, a bit like that. You're going to have to change the camera angle to see that one. Anyway, moving on swiftly. Cool, when I saw that on the camera, that looked better in my head than it did on the camera, I'm just saying. So what you want to do is you want to hold the mirror and I want you to have literally a conversation with your pussy. Literally. And when you're looking at it in the mirror, I want you to tell it it's beautiful. I want you to thank it. I want you to be able to have an intimate conversation with it. Because when you are in your head all of the time, which I can tell that you are, Sarah, because I think that you think a lot, you're very witty, you're very smart, we get disconnected when we're in our head all of the time and we get disconnected from our body. Now, Sarah, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to come back to this after the break. So I want to tell you a little bit more about this. If you want to get your call in, 033 33 403 700. We'll be back after this. Thank you for joining us. You're awesome. You're back. This is amazing. I'm Becky Walsh and we are taking some life-changing calls on 033 33 403 700. Now, before the break, I was talking to Sarah, not to her, but via her email. And we were talking about holding a mirror in front of your lady bits and having a conversation with it. Why would you do that? I tell you why. Because your vagina will suddenly do some weird stuff. It opens, it fills with blood, and it suddenly starts to react to the positive words that you're giving it. Now, as we're talking about self-love, you can also have self-love. Now, I'm not saying you need to be getting it some vajazzles or anything, but just a little conversation with it, and we start to re-engage with our body, because as Sarah was saying, she's feeling like her libido is flat on the floor, and this is one way of getting back in touch with your body once you've been too much in your mind and become disconnected. Now, the other thing, I don't know if you know about this, but there is a form of female massage called Illumi. So, and what Illumi, and what happens with that is that it's literally a massage for women with happy endings. Now, what I would say is it's part of the tantric movement, and what I would say is go and find a practitioner who is a woman. Now, why would you want a woman playing with your lady bits? I tell you why. Because when you're disengaged from your body and you start to have massage and tender touch and sacred sexuality, you kind of don't want it to be with a guy, because inside of your mind you're always going, oh, is there an expectation? Oh, is this safe? Oh, but when it's with a woman, you can actually have all of that sensuality that will get you back in touch with your body and back in connection with yourself. So the thing about you, Sarah, is I think that you are a funny, intelligent, brilliant, witty woman. But I also think that you are very brave and you would happily be able to have a conversation with your little moo-moo things, go and see a massage, because I think doing something that seems to be a little bit risque, rather than kind of me saying to you, okay, go to Love Honey and get yourself a vibrator, go and actually get yourself intimately connected, and then go to Love Honey and go and get yourself a vibrator. You can go and do whatever it is that you want, but you need to get out of your head and into your body, and you'll find that that libido is not missing. It just needs to be reconnected. Thank you so much for your email, Sarah. I really appreciate it. So we've got, is that another call? I'm kind of coming through. Steve, is that another call? It's a voicemail. Okay, thank you, Steve. So we've got a voicemail coming through. You can actually ring and leave messages during the week. Did you know that? You can call at any point in time and leave a message. So if you're watching the show and it's on repeat, then just give us a ring if there's something that you're burning to tell us about, and I will be able to respond to it. That number again, 033 33 403 700. We've actually got one line that's just become available. So if you want to talk to me directly, you can. But let's just take a listen to that voicemail. Let's have a listen now.
Hello, this is Amana, and I'd like to talk about older women dating younger men, and where, how.
Anana, what a brilliant question. That is superb. So I love the fact that you're an older woman. You've got that kind of like, yeah, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to pull myself a younger guy. Now, interestingly, there has been a really big movement with younger guys actually being interested in older women. And why wouldn't they be? Let's face it, come on. And I'll tell you why. Apart from the fact that we are way more confident over the age of 30 sexually, we know what we want, we can be very instructing. So of course they would. But also, guys are getting interested in women with money. Oh yeah, women with nice flash cars, and they've got that stuff going on, and they're their own independent women. And guess what? It's crazy, but that sugar daddy thing has now turned it into a sugar mummy. So what I would say to you is go and be confident about your age. Go wherever it is that you like to go. So go to a place where you can have fun. Dress stylistically. You know that whole idea about mutton dressed up as lamb? Go as yourself, go really stylistically, and just smile at people. You know, there's plenty of places that you can go where you can go and meet young guys. So I wish you good luck with that, but don't let anything stop you. Even if you go out on your own, sometimes the thing to do is just go out on your own, go dancing, especially go to live music. That would be a really wonderful thing to do. Okay, so I hope that helps you, Anana, and thank you so much for leaving your voicemail. Again, if you want to leave a voicemail, you want to get in touch with the show, 033 33 403 700. And don't forget, you can tweet us as well. And the hashtag for Twitter is #CallBecky. And I'll be answering those messages throughout the week as well. So I will be keeping a little beady eye on what's coming through on Twitter about the show. Now, we had another email coming in, so I'm going to read the email. And remember, the email address is Becky at madetelevision.tv. So you might need to have that there too. Okay, so this one is from Caroline, and Caroline has said, I'd love your opinion on my dilemma. How long can you be in a relationship with a boyfriend who doesn't say I love you? Oh, that's really harsh. Now, I know, because I'm just going to skim through this because I've read this a couple of times, Caroline, so I'm just going to read what you said. So Caroline was married before, but she's been widowed. Now, she was married to a guy who didn't have any fear about being able to say, I love you. Now, she's been in this new relationship for about 6 months, and this guy isn't saying it back because he said he doesn't really understand what love is. And he's citing that to a very difficult divorce that he went through with his previous partner. We reach an age, Caroline, where we end up being the woman who puts back together the broken married ex-man. So what seems to happen is that men who have been in relationships and that relationship breaks down can be very wounded off the back of a very difficult marriage. And although I feel that women can somehow bounce back to things in easier ways, I actually believe that when a man falls in love, he very rarely falls out of love. Whereas when a woman falls in love, quite often she can fall back out of love again and fall back in love with another man fully. So what I would say is if the language of love has been confused, then you need to be able to find a way to be able to recommunicate that language of love. So we talked about this a little bit last week, where there's 4 communication styles for love communication. So there's obviously saying I love you. There's physical touch, like, you know, when you touch somebody and you're very tactile. There's also, you know, that comes into kind of like having sex and that kind of thing. Then there's doing things for somebody, so that they do things for you as an expression of love, as well as all of that sexual kind of element. So what I would say is find out or think about what ways he shows you he loves you through those 4 different relationship styles. I've written more about this on the Facebook group. So if you go to Facebook and type in Anything Goes with Becky Walsh, you'll be able to find the Facebook group and have a little read about those 4 relationship styles and find out how he is telling you he loves you, but without those words. I hope that helps. Thank you so much for writing in. Okay, so we've got Matt on the phone. Hello, Matt. It's a guy night tonight. Hello, Matt. How can I help you? Oh, I think you've got your TV turned up because I could hear myself coming back to me then. So just make sure your TV's off in the background.
All right, hang on then.
Thanks, Matt.
Right.
I think I'm going to have fun here. How are you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm not too bad myself.
All right. How's Darren? No, go on. What's your problem?
Right. The problem is, I've got, these 3 girls who are basically after me.
Oh,
they
that's a
basically
problem.
want to get with me.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know what to do.
Well, are you an honest man, Matt, or are you a little bit of a player?
No, I'm an honest man.
Okay, so which one do you like the most?
Well, this blonde one, the blonde one. She likes, that's the one I like, but I just can't do her.
All right. So how much time have you spent with all of them individually, taking them out on dates and buying them dinner?
I spoke to him on how do you say, on
Tinder?
On the chat room, and
okay.
it was in the chat room.
All right. Well, actually,
so I haven't literally seen them yet.
Do you know,
they come in.
And I tell you something about online dating. Photos can be deceiving. I tell you what I would do, Matt. I believe in old-style American dating. I don't believe in meeting someone online and then just meeting that one person. I believe in old-style American dating, where you take a girl on a date, and then you take another one on a date the night after, and another one on a date the night after that, and you keep dating them until you decide which one you like the most, or they decide whether or not they like you, because they might not. And then, when you find the one that you like, you go into steady dating, very American 1950s, and then after you've been steady dating, you go steady completely and you become monogamous and you stay with that person. So it's pretty easy to do, Matt. I wouldn't worry too much about it. And I think that now we kind of do that. We kind of go shopping for relationships. We shop for everything online. So you're just shopping for relationships, and a little bit like shopping for a car, you wouldn't buy it without test driving it first. So what I would say to you is go out on several dates and say which one you like the most. I hope that helps you, Matt. He's disappeared. He's broken by the common sense of that question. Nice try, Matt. Well done. Okay, brilliant. So don't forget, you can put in your call now, 033 33 403 700. Where are the women? Call me now. Women. I want to speak to some women. I know, it gets scary, doesn't it, when we do all of that. And don't forget, you can also text in the show if you're really, really feeling shy, 88833. So we're going to be coming back after we've paid the rent, and you can get your call in, and I very much look forward to speaking to you after the break. Welcome back to the show. I'm Becky Walsh, nearly at the end of the show, but you've got time to get your live question on. The number to ring, 033 33 403 700. Now, have you ever heard of the word polyamory? Perhaps you are polyamorous and you just didn't know it. Joining me on the line is Ashley Jones, who's an ambassador for authentic love. Hello, Ashley.
Hi, Becky.
So I'm going to just get you to answer this for me. But what is polyamory? What is that?
Well, polyamory is having a relationship outside of a monogamous framework. Polyamory specifically, I think, in the way that it's used, is often referred to people who are having relationships with more than one person in an open fashion, hopefully, usually. But polyamory actually means to love many. And I would suggest if you take it out of the context of romantic love, we're already polyamorous because we love already lots of different people for different reasons and in different ways. And for me, polyamory is about loving lovers, friends, a whole bunch of people I have in my life in various different ways, not all sexual relationships, but many different relationships. Polyamory means to love many, and most common, it's used to describe a sexual or romantic connection between people that is not exclusive to that one pairing.
That makes sense. And that sounds, yeah, that's a really beautiful way of putting it, because I've had polyamorous friends who might be in a marriage relationship, and the lady is bisexual, so she also has a girlfriend on the side. It sounds like a bunch of lettuce, which I don't mean at all. But so I've never really thought about it in terms of it being just saying that we can love multiple people, because I think you're right. I have found that when I've been single, I've been more comfortable in my male relationships, in my male friendships. It's been easier to be able to have more multiple intimate relationships that aren't necessarily sexual, but it's almost like people shy away from you when you're in a relationship. Like you're supposed to have specialness in that love, that you're only allowed to love one person. So do you feel that actually shuts you down if you're only allowed to love one person?
Well, I don't think it automatically shuts a person down to make a commitment to another person, but I do wonder if sometimes we are making that commitment out of fear that we might lose the relationship. And I do think that, can you just repeat that last part of the question? Because I had a really important thing to say and it just popped out of my head.
Do you know, and the last part of the question's popped out of my head as well. So I always think the things that perhaps we're supposed to remember and didn't. I think we're sort of talking about the fact that it's important for us to love many people and not feel specialness love.
Yeah, and I think that pressure can come in a relationship because we're taught that we're supposed to love one other person, and yes, it should be incredibly special. And if you have relationships with others, you're somehow making any relationship that you might have with a partner less special. I don't necessarily think that's so, not for me anyway.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense.
For many.
I think what I wanted to have you on the line for was really to talk about that, was to actually open up that idea of kind of like love, because men, I feel sorry for men, they have millions of sperm and they are told that they have to stay with one partner, and actually on MRI scans it kind of shows that a woman's brain lights up after orgasm, and there's a theory that the reason why it lights up is because it's kind of like it allows her to leave his bed because he's fallen asleep, because his MRI scan goes down, hers lights up, so that she may go off and find another partner or another lover. Do you think that now we're becoming a lot more kind of, women are becoming more fluid, and there's more bi-curiosity, and there seems to be a lot more openness around sexuality, that people are stepping into the idea of polyamory probably more than ever before? Do you think that's true?
It could be true. I mean, there's certainly in the worlds and the communities that I move in a lot more awareness around it. I mean, I did experiment with polyamory when I was in my first kind of love relationships in, late teens, and it just felt natural to me. And then I spent after 20, the next 15 to 18 years being very monogamous, and that was my path then. And it's in the recent years I've come back to polyamory, and I noticed there's more of it in community. Yeah, I think it's always been there, but I think it was the swingers in the maybe 70s and 80s, and they're polyamorous, but they were married couples who were swapping partners and such.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? That whole kind of like throwing your keys into the fruit bowl or whatever it was. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us on the call. That's such an interesting topic. And of course, if you're curious about any of that, you can have a look at those plenty of books on it and stuff like that, so you can find out about polyamory. And thank you so much to Ashley Jones. Okay, so I'm going to now go to an email, because an email has come in. I'm loving all of this. It's brilliant, isn't it? You get kind of like, there's tweets and there's emails and there's this thing, there's that thing. So this email that has now come in, it says, I was seeing my ex-girlfriend for 9 months. I fell in love as she, fell in love and she had an issue with sex as she contracted an STI from her previous partner. She's now ended the relationship because she says she cannot have sex with me and made no effort and feels very shy about getting over it. Now, I wish that you told me what the STI was, because I used to be able to, I knew quite a lot about working in clinics. Anyway, that's a whole different side of my life. We're not going to go into that. But what I would say is there's so much shame around STIs, and yet STIs are shockingly an awful lot more common than we would like to know about or like to believe. I think the thing is, it takes great courage to actually come out and say that you are carrying something. So if you're HIV, obviously that's a really big deal, because you really need to be telling every single partner that you've got, and there can be a lot of confusion still about that. We're still not educated perhaps as well as we should have been. I think all you can really do is just support somebody, but they're on their journey. If they're feeling really awkward about these things, if they're uncomfortable about talking about that with you, you know, the fact that they've actually come through with it is a really, really good deal. So the fact that they've actually told you that they have this, I think is a huge thing. I think all you can do is just make them feel very comfortable about it and just see, but they're on their own journey. If they're feeling a lot of shame about it, it's their journey. There's nothing that you can really do to reassure them apart from say, do you know what? It doesn't bother me. We play safe, we play well, and we love each other. And that's absolutely what counts. So we've got another caller. Hello, Andrew. I'm attracting all the men tonight, Andrew. How am I attracting all of the men? It's like, I'm really glad I spoke to Ashley earlier, but obviously it's something about my charismatic personality. So, Andrew, what made you ring in?
Went to a party last night, yeah?
Yeah?
It was this girl there that I really like.
Okay, why don't you like her?
No, I really like her, and I want to get with her.
You do like her, okay.
I got a problem. I got a problem. Her brother fancies me.
What's your problem, Andrew?
I don't know, but her brother fancies me, and I got to stay away from her because I can't be dealing with that.
So, all right, Andrew, what's your problem?
I woke up this morning. You're not going to like this, but it does say anything goes, yeah? I don't know if I got to go doctor or dentist. I woke up this morning and I got
Andrew, if you're going to prank a call-in show, be good at it. Be really good at it and be funny. Be really, really funny. Sweetie, I know that you're a prank, and we've had a couple of those tonight, and I really have no problem. I've got an incredible sense of humour, and I do find things really funny. But I tell you something, the reason why I'm doing this show is because I'm adamant about changing people's lives, and I do change people's lives to the better. And I do think that there is absolutely room for a prank call, because you can phone up and you can prank and you can be funny, because let's face it, life is tough. Life is really difficult, and people have some really fundamental problems. Look at just what's happened this week in the news. So this show is an opportunity for people to be able to call up, talk about what's going on in their lives, and get some fundamental help. Now, I can be funny as the next girl. I can be sexy and sleazy and dirty and a right old laugh. So if you and anyone who is watching this wants to call in the show and have a prank, I am totally down with that. But just make sure you are actually funny. That would be great. So the number to call if you want to call in and be funny is 033 33 403 700. I look forward to seeing you soon. That would be good. So don't forget, you can leave a voicemail and we'll get to speak to you next week. Thank you ever so much. We've been talking to Dr. David Hamilton. We've been talking about sexual issues, and we were talking to Darren and Matt from Cardiff. Thank you so much to Ashley Jones. Catch you next week.